my message to you
What?
about your birthday.
You brought my money.
I told you you had to have a warrant to get it from me.
Ain't no problem, I'm friend with the judge.
How you doing, Mr. Gary?
Fine. How about you?
Doing good, good. Miss Sherry, I think you had to bring a warrant to get this birthday coming from me.
I have my secret, right?
You have.
Seeing that we have no visiting delegations here, we'll move right along. I'd like to thank you all for coming at this different time. Usually we don't have a lunch meeting, and thank you for providing lunch for us. Graciously, we appreciate that. I'm going to ask William, before we go any further, if he has a couple of words real quick.
Just wanted to thank y'all today, and got invited to this meeting. I wanted to tell you a little bit about what's happened since our loss of Lewis. We had a great send-off for Lewis last week. We had a great reception here at the Senior Center. Lewis will be missed. Julie and the girls have come by. I think they've already cleaned out his office, and but I think they're over in Alabama now with one of the daughters there right now. So let's keep them in our thoughts and prayers. It's going to be a really tough time for them. But earlier this week I met with HR. I also met with Kelly and TJ. In the interim, Kelly will continue to oversee the recreation operations here. TJ will continue to oversee the parks operations here. I will attend today and probably a couple more meetings with you just to keep you advised of things like that and assist them in helping with the meeting as needed, things like that. But not going to make any snap judgments, snap decisions anytime soon. Not going to look for replacements right now. We're just going to, probably for the next 90 to 120 days, work with what we've got and talk about some things and maybe possible restructuring of departments within the county, things like that. But I just want to let you know that's why I'm here today. I've got very competent hands. Lewis and I talked not 1 week before his tragic passing, and we talked about retirement. We talked about succession planning and things like that, and he was very proud of the staff that he's assembled and their leadership roles that they were being groomed for and being trained for. And so we've got some great folks here, and Lewis's legacy will live on. Thank you, Beth.
Thank you. And before our invocation, if we could just take a moment of silence for Lewis and his family, and then Zach's going to lead us in the invocation.
Father God, we just thank you right now for this opportunity to assemble here together as men and women working for the benefit of Spalding County. Lord God, we want to first of all thank you for our friendship, our working relationship with Lewis Green. Father God, we just ask that you cover him and his family with the blood of Jesus during this valley experience. Father God, we're praying for peace. We're praying for comfort. And Father God, we're praying for acceptance. Lord God, we ask that you continue to watch over the Spalding County Park and Rec Department as they work through this loss of a valuable piece of the puzzle. Father God, we ask that you let us continue to work as we have in the past to do what is best, what we think is best for the citizens of this great community. And Lord God, we'll be quick to give you all the praise and all the honor, for you are worthy to be praised. And it's in Jesus' name we do pray. Let all those present say amen.
Amen. Thank you. Moving right along, everyone has the agenda in front of them. I'd like to call for a motion to adopt the agenda. Any second? Anyone want a second?
Second.
Thank you. We got our mouth full. Any changes to the agenda? All right, if everyone's in favor of the motion and second, please raise your right hand. Signify. Thank you. Everybody should have a copy of the June minutes, meeting minutes. I'd like to call for a motion to approve the minutes.
Madam Chair, I motion that the minutes are approved and accepted.
Anybody, second?
Second.
Any changes to the minutes? Any discussion? All right, all those signify by raising your right hand. Thank you. We have no visiting delegation, correct? No letters, so we're moving right along. Under F, under new business, is the youth football turkey bowl participation. It's an action item. I believe Kelly's going to talk about that first.
All right. For the last few years, we've had participation in an invitational type football turkey bowl. It happens right around turkey season, 50-day season. We have budgeted this year to send 3 age groups, 1 team from each of the 3 age groups, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, 12, to this tournament bowl. And we wanted some consideration to approve this, maybe some discussion. This fee is not included in what we charge for football program. So this is something that we budget for separately. We realized that over years that the coaches were really interested in all-star type bowling. And they really enjoy it. Robbie, is there anything else you wanted to add?
I guess just the point of this, it's a good experience for the kids to go and compete at the all-star level, playing against different competition outside of Spalding County, and it's been something that they look forward to. And last year we were in Fayette County, but this year the tournament will be back in Henry County, and it runs much better. We enjoy ourselves over there, and they get a chance to expose themselves to other athletes around the surrounding counties.
What age group? Did I hear? I'm
So
sorry.
we do 8. They do it by single age, so it'll be 8 and under, 10 and under, and 12 and under. So those are the 3 age divisions.
And it's October, November?
The day after Thanksgiving.
Oh.
Wow.
And it's already budgeted for it?
We budgeted for the entry fee, which is about $300 a team.
And it's in for this year, correct?
Yes.
It's already there. Is there a motion?
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we approve to pay the interest fee for the football turkey bowl participation.
Second? Any discussion? No discussion?
Madam Chair, it is not about this particular, but I would like to raise issue because I don't know about anybody else, but I know Mr. Fears, there's been some more talk about a football association. That's the only sport that we don't have an association for. But as I know I have and Mr. Fears has, we try to explain to the interested parties the financial piece of it, and that was why it wasn't carried out the first time it came up. And I think Kelly probably was. But I want to know do we still have any numbers that we had back then that we can maybe show them to let them see what they are up against.
2 months ago, we did share that, not last meeting, but the month prior. And we'd be glad to meet with you and go over those in detail.
Yeah, I think and Mr. Fields is willing. I think some of the people that had talked to us and had discussion with us about it, we need to share that information with them so they at least have a goal or know what they're up against. If they want to try to take on something like that.
Well, I talked with a group of guys, and they're interested in starting it. but they're in the process of trying to organize a group to come back and present what they, and show what they're really part of. So, they seen all the figures. and
Okay.
everything.
It's in,
Good.
Or is there any other discussion pertaining to the motion and second on the floor? Okay, let's vote for, to approve the motion that's, yes, sir. Just raising your hand.
Registration.
All right, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. All those opposed? Thank you. Under old business, the pay to play. This is an action item, discuss the pay to play fee for gym use. Spalding County Board of Commissioners requested that we revisit the item. I believe it's in our minutes from last meeting that there was an informal poll taken concerning the implementing the pay to play fee of $2 for ages 16 to 49 and $1 for ages 50 and over. We had 2 that were in favor, 3 who were against, and 2 who were undecided.
Madam Chairman, may I address that? I think y'all had a very spirited discussion on that matter at your last meeting. The county commissioners did vote to suspend this portion of the fee structure until you had this meeting. It is my understanding from several of the commissioners that I talked to that they are in agreement with that unofficial poll that at this time there is, they would like for you to reconsider that fee. And I just don't think there's support for that fee at this time. But
Is there a reason behind that?
Right now, because of the way to account for it and the way to, you haven't decided, well, it hasn't been expressed to us that if it's, you're charged once for the day, you're charged once for the morning, once for the afternoon, things of that nature, but just did not see that much support for that at this time, without a better way of accounting for it and maybe a little more, see what other counties do and things like that. But on an individual basis, it seems like it could pose a problem for you, taking in monies, things like that, change and administratively. I know we've got Rec 1 now at all the locations, is that right, TJ?
yes, sir.
We do have it at all locations, but it probably would work better maybe with a prepaid yearly fee if those are just suggestions that were kind of thrown out, rather than trying to collect it individually and then, you know, is it for the morning only, or is it anytime it's open that day, or, you know, if you come in the morning, you come in the afternoon, you come in the evening, things like that. But they did ask that you discuss it and possibly reconsider that at this meeting, at a future meeting.
Bill, if you don't mind, I'd like to add to what Mr. Wilson said. And realistically, we end up closing our gym. Because the kids in Fairmont, the kids in City Park, but most of the Fairmont, they can't afford to pay to use that gym, to use the gym. They'll just go to their backyard or whatever, but they're not gonna pay. We end up just having the gym over there for park meet play, excuse me, and things like that. But as far as outside, I say this because of what I've observed. I go through there and just sit in the office and watch who use the gym over there. There's no doubt about it. You know, they're unprivileged kids, barely, I hate to say this, being condescending, but barely able to afford usable tennis shoes and the way to dress. They're economically disadvantaged kids. And ain't no in the world And me personally, I think we end up with more problems than what we really have now.
Kelly, can I ask, have y'all had an opportunity to check to see like what other facilities maybe in Spalding County or even the surrounding counties?
Yeah, we have done a little bit of research on that. Right here in Griffin, the Methodist Church, they have a great community center there. It's fully air conditioned, and they charge $1 a day or $10 a month with unlimited access. And that's all they use Monday through Friday and into the evening. And they offer air-conditioned gym, walking track, aerobics rooms, cardio and weight room, shower facilities, and other community rooms to use for that.
And that's $1 a day.
$1 a day. Clayton County charges $3 a day or $20 a month, and that is also includes daytime and evening use with some nice amenities, air-conditioned basketball gymnasium, swimming pools, fitness center, indoor track, game room, dance and fitness rooms such as that.
And the gyms that we're talking about doing this fee at, what do they offer besides basketball?
Well, as far as we understood, it was a pay-to-play basketball fee.
The other people, they come in and just sit there free.
That's what we understood it to be.
And that's a, I thought I stepped through that, but I just wasn't interested in that deal when it comes to it. Because I think that, like Spanker said, I asked what he said, that those people are too poor to pay. Those people that sitting in there, I'm way to pay than the children that come over to play. I would think so. That's my feeling of it. But whatever, the majority do, that's it. I was totally against it from day one. But I just don't keep up a lot of fuss about it for kids. I really eat.
Somebody to make a motion?
I think we have to first, take it off, did we table it? I wasn't here that meeting.
We did table
We
it.
need to make a motion to take it off,
Lift from the table.
from the table. And I make a motion that we lift the basketball tape fee for gym use, remove it from being tabled.
Second.
Actually, I think it was voted upon at last year's
It was
meeting.
voted on.
So they're really,
Nothing to, because we did vote.
It wasn't tabled? I wasn't here, so I don't know.
Yeah, it was
voted.
voted on.
Three was
voted
voted
on
Okay.
last year.
And in June,
Last year.
And last year we were voted.
And we weren't established to
Oh, you
be
did?
able to take care of funds and money exchanges.
Mr. Winwood said he thought they thought they were voting to table it, not voting on the issue. So, I mean,
Let's see.
So, last month, Lewis was just informing y'all that it was about to be implemented.
So it does require an action.
Yes. So it was not tabled, it was voted on, and y'all can vote to rescind it. Yes.
so we need to rescind it now.
Yes.
Yes.
I changed my motion to rescind, the pay fee for gym use.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All right, all in favor with the motion, please raise your right hand. All right, thank you. Next item is the, discuss the 2014 SPOS information item in Williams Street.
I have a few handouts for you today.
This is what we really gonna miss Lewis at. This was Lewis Smith,
Already starting on.
his match.
The first thing you see is the collections for the current 2008 SPOS. That SPOS will end December 31st, 2014. We are running about 92% of projected revenues. So we're running about 8% short of the $54 million that we, I'm sorry, of the $54 million that we anticipated. You can see those numbers jump around each month. From a low this year of 596 to a high of 792. There's $200,000 swing right there. So you just never know what SPLOST revenues are going to do. I want to talk to you a little bit. You've heard about the TAVT tax, the new title ad valorem tax. Previously, when you went and bought a new vehicle, you paid 7% sales tax on that vehicle. 4% went to the state, 1% went to the school, 1% went to this special purpose local option sales tax, and 1% was divided through an agreement between the city and county. With the advent of that new tax going into effect, you don't pay sales tax on new cars, and new cars are a tremendous, I think, it's hard to tell right now, we've only been in it 2 months, but I think that's really going to hurt our SPLOST collections and our LOST collections. So it's going to affect the school board, the city, and the county. But it's a little too early to tell right now what kind of effect. Oh, it's locked. No, I'm sorry. We just shut the door because it was a little loud outside. Here you go, Ray. I'm going over the SPLOST.
Okay.
I unlocked it, TJ. As I was saying, the TAVT tax is going to have some effect. We don't know what. We are 92% of revenues, and I will be proposing to the board, it's already been discussed a little bit in our retreat and things like that, that all projects be reduced by that 8% across the board. So it's going to affect all the projects from this 2008 SPLOST. Just wanted to let you know where collections were and where we stood. The next page, the legislature also changed the dates that you could have special purpose local option sales tax referendums. Now, you can only have it during an election year, twice a year. Even numbered years in conjunction with the already scheduled election. So 2014 is an even numbered year, so we can either have it the third Tuesday in July or the first Tuesday in November. And November is a gubernatorial election. July, of course, is the general primary. The board, flip over to the next page, and it's the 2014 SPLOST timeline. So if you work backwards from the July 15th primary, you see that everything has to be done. The absolute and total drop dead date is April the 8th, 2014. The commissioners have to approve it. It has to be ready to go for advertising. Everything has all the preliminary work, which takes about 6 to 9 months, has to be done before that. So we are in that 6 to 9 month period. So we are beginning, the commissioners talked at the retreat about the SPLOST. They would like to see a July 15th election. And so that is what we are shooting for this SPLOST election next year. Now, no projects have been decided upon. The next thing you'll see, I believe, I don't remember when Ms. Gwynn brought this to us from your board, but there was a $32 million project list that was that the board was made aware of. She presented it, I think, during her commissioner's comment portion of a county commission meeting. and said that the Park and Rec Board had put together a list of projects that would like to see considered. It was a preliminary list, like to see considered for a future SPLOST. There's several items on there totaling $32 million. I was told, y'all have to help me with this one because I just saw this smaller list, which is the next page, that Lewis had worked with several members of the Park and Rec Advisory Board and pared down that list to the 6 projects that you see where it says 2014 SPLOST project list in bold letters. And this was, to coin the way it was put to me, this was the SPLOST project list that Lewis thought William might go for. So
He said.
So I just wanted to present you and let you know, like I say, collections are down. In order to have a 6-year SPLOST, there must be an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Griffin and Spalding County. Otherwise, your SPLOST will run 4 years. So we had estimated $750,000 per month with a 0% increase over what we were collecting at the time when the 2008 SPLOST was passed. As you can see, we never got there, so if we did another one, we would probably budget somewhere in the $650,000 a month range. So you see that takes off about $7 million. So we would be down to about $47 million for an estimated 6-year SPLOST for 2014. So that's taking into account the TABT tax and the economy, the way things are going right now. And that is just a very, very preliminary estimate. I just wanted to come before you and let you know, because a lot of folks don't see, the county commissioners see the revenues every month, but a lot of folks don't realize that collections vary so much from month to month and from year to year. As you see, the first year in 2009, $7.5 million, $8.4 million in 2010, $8.6 million in 2011, $8.6 million in 2012, and so far this year, for the first 5 months, $3.4 million. So, as I said, we budgeted $750,000 per month, or $9 million per year. 6 years, $54 million was budgeted, and we haven't hit our $9 million year yet. Although, when we did project it, our average was $750,000 in 2006 and 2007, when we were working on estimates for this SPLOST. So the economy has really done a number on our SPLOST in the beginning, and I think in the end years of our SPLOST, I think the TABT tax is going to have a significant impact as well.
Mr. Wilson, let me ask you a question. What are your thoughts, even if it's possible? I know the county projecting a July 15th SPLOST. What about Park and Rec do a separate SPLOST along with just Park and Rec in November?
Well, you can't have more than one.
You can't have more than one.
Correct.
Okay.
Period. You can only have one SPLOST. So, if the Board of Commissioners decided that Park and Rec were the only items to be on the SPLOST, the vote would either have to be July or November.
So it can't be both.
Can't be both.
Okay. And the reason why I asked, me and Lewis had, many discussion how, Park and Rec kind of get lost in the priority list, when we have all inclusive county SPLOST, and
you know, we want to have 911 and all that before, you know, we know people gonna want to invest in that before they invest in park and rec. So we were trying to figure out a way how park and rec could do just a splash or a loan. And so you don't think that's possible either way?
That would be up to the board. The board will have to decide what projects,
Well,
to
we
put
know
on
we got a
future
lot of
spots.
issues that we need to take care of.
There are tremendous needs out there. As you know, the county's financial shape is not the best.
Right.
And we've had to do some things with benefits for employees in fiscal year 14. So times are not the best right now, but they are going to get better.
Yeah.
And we're going to come out of this, but it's just going to take us a while.
Let me ask you this question. You say that have a 4 or 6 year splash. What would you think would be best? Your personal opinion. You just stay here with us.
Let's stay here with you in Griffin Journal.
Okay.
I think we're going to have to look at a 6-year SPLOST in order to come up with the funding for projects for both governments. That would be my initial thought as a 6-year SPLOST, unless there was just a single item SPLOST. You know, early warning sirens, as an example. County-wide, city and county. That's a little bit over $2.5 million. That is less than a year's collection. But if the board, Board of County Commissioners would have to decide what projects, and they could just choose, a single item SPLOST. Those have been discussed in the past, and I think we actually did have a recreation-only SPLOST one year. But primarily the SPLOST that have been approved by the voters out there have been, and this is to coin a phrase from Mr. Kendall, one of my former commissioners, Christmas tree approach, where you have a little bit for everybody. You have something for this group on the SPLOST, something for this group, something for this, something for this, in order to try to gain support for the project as a whole. You may not support this project over here, but you want this one over here. So, but that's what Mr. Kendall coined it, was the Christmas tree approach to a SPLOST. So there's counties that have done it single item SPLOST. They've just done transportation or infrastructure, quote unquote, single SPLOST. Henry County, I think, is on their SPLOST 5, and they do everything from transportation to recreation to, I think they did a health department and some other things on their last one, but it's, they have huge transportation needs. Not that we don't, but we have a lot of transportation needs. We've got a lot of bridges that are aging. We've got a lot of intersections that need improvements. And we've got a lot of roads that need resurfacing. The state has changed the way they give the counties money to resurface roads every year. And before, the state participated to a greater percentage in that money, and now they do not. So, to get a mile of road paved today is about, resurfaced only, is about $80,000 a mile. To build a paved road where there is a dirt road, the last figures I heard from Henry County, and they did it last year, 2012, was $1.2 million per mile. With no bridges, no big culverts, nothing like that. So, and that's just a 2-lane road with no major intersections, no traffic signals. This traffic signal configuration right out here that we did, for the senior center, that's a $350,000 road project out there. So things are very expensive. We've got a lot of projects going on in the county, and And those projects are gonna be funded through the 2008 SPLOST. There's intersection improvement going on at Rovers, Attella, and Vaughn Road on State Route 16 that's going on now. We've got a new bridge going in on Smoke Road that feds are paying 90% of, but the county's paying 10%. And so there are lots of things going on out there, projects going on right now that are being considered. Lots of needs, lots and lots of needs. You know, if we went with your list, 32 million, and we're projecting a 47 million, that's a good chunk of change. And another thing that we have to consider is the operational costs. We just, you know, a couple of years ago, we opened L.B. Norton Fire Station. Fire station and the trucks, fire station's $2 million, the trucks were a little over $1 million. You know, that's $3 million once. The 8 folks to staff that are about $350,000, $400,000 each and every year from now to eternity. So the operational costs, the staffing costs, the utilities, the maintenance, those are things that have to be considered, because a lot of yours is primarily new facilities to come online. And as we know from this one, this fine facility we're sitting in now, that utilities and things like that aren't cheap these days.
So what's our next step? What do we need to do?
I was talking with Chairman Flowers Taylor. We were working on the agenda for Monday night, and she was going to try to be here, but like I told you earlier, it's hard to get off in the emergency room for 2 hours to come to a meeting. She wanted me to present all this information to you, let y'all look at it, and then maybe at a future meeting, you all decide what projects you would like to submit to the board for consideration, and to see if you could obtain. One thing that we've always had a problem with is obtaining good cost estimates.
Yeah.
And that's the hardest thing we've had to do, and just see if you could tweak your cost estimates, and rather than underestimating the value of a project, I'd rather see it a little overestimated than underestimated, because it's just not easy. I've had to explain to folks before on SPLOST projects that there was no funding available for a project on a SPLOST because revenues weren't there to pay for that project. So we don't want to be in that shape again. But I would just ask that at a future meeting you all come up with a definitive list that your board agrees to, and either you all can submit, or Chairman Flowers Taylor can submit, or whoever to the board, because we're beginning to talk about projects now. As I told you, that time frame is really going to be here before we know it. Everything has to be completed by April of 2014 at the latest. That means the city and county have to agree. And sometimes that's not easy.
I know Lewis had given us prices on the second list, the bowl. Can we get the number to go on 6 items, Kelly, if you have access to it?
Yeah, we have estimates. I like to estimate from Wilson. Are we going to get professional assistance in those prices, or?
We do not have any funds budgeted for that professional assistance. So right now I can't authorize any expenditure for professional assistance with those estimates. So if we could call around and see what other people have expended on their buildings, it's probably going to be the best estimate we can do right now.
And that's what we could do. Exactly. We could take a look at the projects, and I could go around the state and see what's very similar.
Okay.
And then we
You
could
can
come
do
up
that,
with
we
some
have
averages.
those numbers, because one thing we gonna probably need to do is prioritize as far as, what we wanna do, you know, as far as our top priority to our least priority, and that's how we need to submit it.
seems like we need to do it quickly.
Yeah, we need to.
Move on.
So, TJ, you gonna have to put some of them DJ parties on hold and.
Thank y'all for letting me speak to you today. And again, I want to assure you that Park and Rec's going to continue to operate as it always has. Got a great staff. Lewis was very insightful on choosing his folks and training them and making sure they were prepared for the future. And for the next few months, I'll probably be attending your meetings as well, just to keep you up to date on where the board is and just get your input too. So, thank you for letting me be here today.
Mr. Wilson, one thing before you go, and we appreciate you coming, but I like I said, I unfortunately had to miss the last meeting and everything, so I'm not real up to par on what all has been talked about with Mr. Green, but you know, my years on here, I would like to see something in one of the buildings. I don't know if it's this building or where, but I think we need to do some type of tribute to Lewis. Lewis practically gave his life to the county. And you know, me and Lewis didn't always agree, but we always found a midpoint to agree to disagree. But I would hate to see a man that literally gave his life not being recognized for his work here. So I hope that's a discussion.
I've received several calls since Lewis's passing, wanting to know, what the county was going to do to honor Lewis, things like that. I know your experience from the school board. You know that naming a facility or something after one tends to become very tough. I think, and what I suggested to the folks that have called me is that they come before the Park and Rec Advisory Board and offer some suggestions, but I think it was a fitting tribute that the city did for Mr. Elmer George by naming their meeting room the Elmer George Meeting Room. Now, I would, just off the top of my head, our banquet room here would be a good recommendation or suggestion for the Lewis Green Banquet Hall or something like that. So we would rely heavily on a recommendation from the Park and Rec Advisory Board, but I thank you for bringing that up. I've got lots of calls, and if you want, Madam Chairman, I'll be happy to give you a couple of names of the folks who volunteered to serve on a committee or whatever that really wanted. We've gotten a lot of great comments on our Facebook page. If you'll notice, you go to Spalding County Board of Commissioners, you'll see a lot of comments about Lewis there, and a lot of folks on the radio made comments, and other publications as well made comments. So he will be missed, but he definitely left an impact on this community.
He definitely did. So, Madam Chair, if we can, put that item on the agenda for our next meeting. I think, like you said, we got a little sense of urgency and some work we need to do.
I agree. Thank you. All right. Thank you. We appreciate you being here with us.
No problem.
Moving right along, director's report. I know Kelly and TJ both are going to do that.
Okay, you guys will find in your notebooks a letter from United Bank. Back in March, when they came before us and requested to use the softball fields at City Park, we agreed upon the stipulation that they would have to provide a letter showing how much money they raised and where their funds went. And in the letter, you'll see they raised $566, and it went to the Christian Women's Center. Very grateful.
At last month's meeting, you reviewed a new concussion waiver form, which is to follow suit after the Governor Deal signed the new return to play law regarding concussions. And Mr. Fortune has reviewed that, made revisions, and that very form is being implemented right now in all youth sports. We've met with the youth associations, and it's it's a requirement now across every youth sport that be those be reviewed with parents, and then the coaches as well receive concussion training.
Next Friday, which will be July 19th, our next Movies in the Park will be taking place at the park at 6. We'll be showing Wreck-It Ralph. The fun starts at 7:30. And interesting aspect, the next week we have a Atlanta sponsor. It's going to be the Children's Healthcare Network of Atlanta. So we're looking to have some interesting things with that sponsorship, and hopefully some more in the future.
That sounds like doing the Senate, man, for Spalding region.
What was the name of the movie?
Wreck-It Ralph. It's a cartoon.
Okay.
Do we have flyers? That's the Friday night of the swim meet, and we'll have teams in town staying in Griffin, and we would love to have flyers to contribute at the meet, to give them something to do. But we should be done about 6 o'clock, and that would give them.
That's great. But the fun starts at 7:30. Basically, if you bring a child, they're going to win something. We supply popcorn and drink refreshments, and movie starts at dark.
Great fun. This week, the Jumpin' Joe Ward basketball camp is going on at Griffin High School. There's about 150 to 200 participants each day. He drives all the way from Tennessee to be with us. And how many years has this been going on, Robbie? 10 years?
10 years at least.
Gotta be 10 years. Yeah. So you're very generous in doing that for us. This is the last week for our golf camp, our summer day camp, and USDA summer food program. It's been a great summer. Can't believe summer's on its way out. We're looking to go back to school soon. Robbie, would you like to share information about the football camp coming up?
July the 22nd through the 26th, we'll start our Lamont Ham football camp at Volunteer Park. And that's an evening camp, so it gives a lot of parents the opportunity to get off from work and come in and bring the kids out. So we're expecting over 100 campers for that week. This will be the 3rd year of that camp, and all the volunteer coaches, a lot of the volunteer coaches are part of that camp, just teaching them basic fundamentals of football and just enjoying the experience of a camp. And then they play flag football to climax the end of the week, so to speak. And that'll go on the 22nd, 23rd, take the Wednesday off and come back and finish up Thursday and Friday. So we're looking forward to that. And then baseball, softball camp at Spalding High School is July 23rd, 23rd and 24th, which is a Tuesday and Wednesday. And that's at 4 o'clock in the evening also camp. And Rusty Hudson will be the coach, the one that will be directing the camp, which is the Spalding High softball coach.
And what's it going to be?
23rd and 24th, Tuesday and Wednesday. That's Spalding.
All right, as y'all know, we started our new Senior Citizen Center membership starting July 1st. I'm happy to report as of today, we have 454 of those paid. So, and basically those are people that have been participating in our activities on a daily basis, and we expect that to grow considerably over the next few months. It is for a year, so that will be for 1 year from the day that you sign on now. We also will be implementing our Silver Sneakers program. That's a program that most people, as far as seniors, have with their health insurance. They can get that membership for free. And then Spalding County will receive a daily fee when they participate here at the Senior Center. And that should be coming up in the next couple weeks. And we should see a tremendous amount of income from that be utilized here at the center also.
And TJ, the Silver Sneakers, we do not charge the $25 membership fee for Silver
Correct.
Sneakers members.
What was the Silver Sneaker again?
It's a program that's part of your health insurance for those that are 65 and over.
Health and fitness for seniors that they will pay for,
And
if you have certain facilities available.
okay.
Right. Supplemental insurances to Medicare, such as AARP, Humana, Blue Cross. It's a member benefit.
Okay.
And the participant signs on through their insurance company. They're issued a Silver Sneakers card, and then it gives them free access to fitness classes
Okay.
and places like this and fitness clubs that participate.
So now, anybody that signs up, become a member of the senior center, they pay that $25, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, that's what, I know some people were calling me, and I said, well, it was just in the beginning, some of them got a pass, right?
We didn't implement it till July
So
1st.
July, yeah, okay, all right.
And that's a one-time per year
One time per
fee.
year,
Right.
okay.
With the Silver Sneakers program, is that just gonna give them access to the fitness things or
Everything.
It's to the whole center as a whole. And then for each day that they come, up to 10 days a month, we will receive a daily fee from that program.
Now, if they want to participate in extracurricular classes like line dancing, ballroom dancing, a special art class, things like that, they will have to pay those individual fees. But for their regular fitness class, their Silver Sneakers, and then their membership here is no charge.
And of course, we are using Rec One here exclusively at this facility. Everything is being done through Rec One, and we've had no problems at all that we could not work through.
Did everyone check in
Yes,
when
sir.
you entered the building?
Miss Joe made sure we did.
That is correct. She said her big boss,
She would never sit past the door.
her big boss at the county said, you better count every person that comes in there.
She doing her job well.
She is. But that's a great thing, and
Yes,
you'd be
it is.
surprised, we're having about 800, between 780 and 850, I think,
Oh,
per
yeah.
week
Per week.
come through.
Great,
That's fantastic.
great.
Yes.
That is great. How is the usage of the banquet room, has that caught on or picked up in the community for people reserving it and using it?
Well, I've made my first rental.
Okay.
It'll be next June
Mhm.
of 2014, and a couple will be having their wedding reception.
Okay,
But I've had lots of inquiries, and I expect we'll be seeing a lot more people.
yeah. I might have my birthday party
That'll be
And
wonderful.
couple-
You need the space.
Coupled with that, the Board of Commissioners in the fiscal year 2014 budget did approve a part-time person who will be in charge of the building when it is rented out. That person will be here during the events in case, in case the toilet overflows, in case pirate does something, and that person, that's a part-time position that was approved in the budget, and we'll be advertising and working to get that person on in June or July or August.
And I would also like to add that Kroger has actually reserved the conference room. They'll be utilizing it in August to have a workshop. So it's starting to get rented.
And for point of reference, Lauren is our contact person for rentals of the conference room and the banquet hall here.
And last on our list is Cheerleading Association is going to be going through some leadership changes. They've requested and they've announced an election. It is currently scheduled for July 27. However, some other parents that want to get involved and be a part of that election process have asked for it to be extended so they can be in town and hopefully be elected to positions to help that program grow. So we'll be sending edits to the paper as far as that election change. And once we know the liaisons for that, I'd like to make sure the liaisons are part of that as well.
Next thing is the liaison committee reports, and I've made a little thing for everybody. We've had some people drop off and people come on, and so I'm gonna pass this out, and if you will get this back to me, this is just asking you to list your top 3 choices of what liaison you would like, what association, what sport you would like to serve with, be a liaison for. So if you don't mind just taking that, and I'll try to have these all back out to everybody. By the end of the week. Well, that's tomorrow. But I try to do it, as soon as possible.
That is tomorrow.
That is tomorrow. But while he's passing that out, does anybody have any comments or reports from the ones that you're on now?
Okay, I'm on the football and Falcons. We were looking real good for this upcoming season. We made some good trades. Julio. Well, I did want to ask about the members, Madam Chair and Mr. Wilson. We had, I know one in particular, and that didn't pan out. But for the missing members on this board, where we are on commissioner's appointments, or has that been addressed or talked about?
How many members are you missing?
I'm thinking 2.
I thought you just need a revised list.
No. Who replaced Robin Davis?
Mr. Fierce did.
Oh, Mr. Field. Oh, I thought Mr. Field was down here just to complain. I'm sorry, my bad. Yeah, blow up number now. I'm sorry, Mr. Field. Okay, I think that's.
I still have Robin in mind.
You hadn't
So
been here, so you
next
weren't.
meeting, we'll have an updated list.
Yes.
Because I still have Robin listed on mine.
And then we can list them with the association or sport that they're gonna be moved.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any reports from their groups? I just wanted to say, I do with swim, and next Friday and Saturday is the Griffin Swim Meet, the Griffin Invitational, out at the pool at City Park. Friday, we will start the meet at 2 o'clock, and we ask that you all come so we can introduce you to everybody. If you've never been to a swim meet out there, at that little bitty pool, we do have about 500 to 600 people. We are looking about, we provided 10 different teams, and I know we have some people coming in from Anniston, Alabama to compete at our meet. So we do ask that y'all come out to see who we are, who we have. We have about 130 swimmers. We are taking about 60 this weekend to district in Peachtree City. So that's next Friday at 2 o'clock, and then next Saturday morning at 10 o'clock out at the City Park pool. They really would like to see y'all out there. Anything else? Do you have anything else?
No, ma'am.
All right. Go watch.
Your
We're adjourned.
next, your next meeting is August the 8th.
Need a motion.
Need a motion and a second to adjourn.
Adjourn, please.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
August 8th.
August 8th at 6.
All right.
Here in this room.
Right down.
All right, thank you all for coming. I appreciate it.
All right.